This isn't merely an aircraft. It's a testament to human bravery, a Soviet ambition crafted from steel, flame, and unyielding resolve. It was called Mriya, which translates to dream in Ukrainian.
This is the Antonov An-225 Mriya, the largest and heaviest plane ever constructed.
A robust six-engine giant, nearly the length of a football field, created to carry the Soviet space shuttle Buran. It was destined to reach the stars, yet it fell, consumed by destruction and war. What force could lift such a behemoth, and what might could cause it to fall? Here unfolds the story of the An-225 Mriya, a dream born from the Cold War, lost in a storm of conflict once more. To grasp this colossus, we journey back to the 1970s, an era when the United States and the Soviet Union vied for supremacy not only on Earth, but in space. In 1981, the world witnessed America's space shuttle Columbia ascend into the skies and return to Earth, showing that spacecraft could be reused like conventional planes. This was unbearable humiliation for the Kremlin. Moscow reacted swiftly, initiating the Buran program to rival NASA's shuttle. But Buran was no small venture. It stretched 30 meters long and weighed over 100 tons. Transporting it thousands of kilometers from its factory to the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan posed challenges. Trains were inadequate. The tracks couldn't withstand the weight. Regular cargo planes like the An-124 Ruslan were too small. The Soviets required a flying fortress, an aircraft colossal enough to carry a spacecraft across vast distances. Enter Oleg Antonov, a visionary in Soviet transport aviation. In 1976, his design bureau in Kiev was given a challenging task: create an aircraft capable of lifting the heaviest loads on Earth. Engineers faced blank blueprints, unsure of where to start. Then they drafted the impossible: an oversized An-124 reimagined as the An-225 Mriya. It was to measure 84 meters in length with a wingspan of 88.4 meters, broader than a lineup of Boeing 747s. Its 6 Progress D-18T turbofan engines could produce 229 kilonewtons each, achieving a maximum speed of 850 km/h, Mach 0.8. Its maximum takeoff weight reached 640 tons, nearly double that of the American C-5 Galaxy. The fuselage became a steel cathedral, housing a staggering 1,250 cubic meters of space. Within, you could fit a dozen buses or even another aircraft.
Please like the video by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.
Construction commenced in 1985 at the Kiev aviation plant. 5,000 workers toiled in shifts, hammering, riveting, and welding under strict secrecy, with KGB guards surrounding the facility. The dream took shape, illuminated by floodlights slicing through the Soviet night. Then, on a frosty December morning in 1988, the behemoth glided onto the runway at Zhytomyr Air Base. It overshadowed everything nearby. Test pilot Alexander Galunenko pushed the throttles up. Engines roared. The tarmac fluttered. At 290 kilometers per hour, the world's largest aircraft soared, majestic despite its scale, ascending into a winter sky as if gravity surrendered. For 1 hour and 20 minutes, the An-225 Mriya flew flawlessly. The Politburo celebrated in the Kremlin. Soviet engineers shed tears of pride. Weeks later, it carried the Buran shuttle aloft, parading through Moscow's overcast skies, a showcase of Cold War might. No one had ever seen anything like it. Yet when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the dream crumbled too. Funding evaporated, the Buran program was halted, and the Mriya, once the peak of Soviet aspirations, was hidden in a quiet hangar. Dust settled on its wings. For years, it lay dormant. Then, in the early 1990s, amid a quest to rejuvenate its economy, an independent Ukraine sought to revitalize the Mriya, not as a space shuttle carrier, but as the ultimate cargo plane. By 1993, the aircraft roared back to life, operated by Antonov Airlines, leased for specialized missions worldwide. Its inaugural commercial flight transported a 187-ton generator from Russia to Ethiopia. Ground teams watched in amazement as cranes loaded it into the cavernous cargo bay. It simply consumed the impossible. Thus, the legend began to expand. In 1995, it transported a 132-ton oil rig component from Germany to Kazakhstan, crossing the Ural Mountains in merely 12 hours. By the late 1990s, the Mriya was shattering aviation records. It carried wind turbine blades exceeding blue whales in length. It moved massive boilers for power stations, Airbus fuselage segments, and provided relief supplies to disaster-stricken regions. Every takeoff became an event, 32 tires gripping the runway, engines roaring like storms. Pilots likened the sensation to lifting a skyscraper into the sky. In 2001, the Mriya achieved the heaviest takeoff ever recorded, 640 tons, and continuously shattered records in subsequent years. In 2016, it transported a single 247-ton mining dredge drum from Australia to South Africa. Maintenance was no small feat. Each annual overhaul cost up to $10 million. Crews scaled the aircraft's enormous frame like mountaineers. Yet the world continued to pay eagerly, nothing else compared. For decades, the Mriya symbolized human ingenuity and Ukrainian tenacity. Whenever disaster struck, the Mriya responded, delivering aid, generators, and hope. It transcended metal. It became a legend in motion. Then came February 2022. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In those early hours, missiles and helicopters descended on Hostomel Airport, located 25 kilometers northwest of Kyiv, home to Antonov. On the tarmac stood the Mriya, grounded for maintenance, waiting for avionics and landing gear upgrades. Its engines lay cold. Its massive form was exposed. As the first explosions shook the air, engineers and guards scrambled to protect the aircraft. They understood its worth, not just monetary, but deeply symbolic. However, war spares nothing sacred. On February 25th, Russian Ka-52 attack helicopters swooped in under low clouds, firing rockets that ignited the hangars in fiery destruction. Ukrainian defenders fought fiercely around the airfield. For hours, the crack of gunfire echoed amid the haze. By daybreak, artillery had struck the Mriya. Shrapnel tore apart its left wing, flames licked at its fuselage. Still, it stood resilient, noble even in devastation. Witnesses claimed it resembled a wounded giant refusing to bow. The final blow came in the form of 2-caliber cruise missiles. One pierced the cockpit, while another detonated in the central fuselage. The explosion ignited fuel tanks, engulfing the aircraft in a raging inferno. For hours it blazed, a symbol of a nation under siege. When the flames finally died, only twisted metal remained. The nose and one engine were hardly recognizable. The world's largest aircraft, the dream of generations, had vanished. News of the Mriya's demise spread rapidly. Aviation enthusiasts mourned online. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky proclaimed, "We will rebuild the Mriya." This loss was more than emotional. It drastically impacted global logistics. The Mriya was the sole aircraft capable of transporting certain oversized items: wind turbine blades, massive transformers, entire locomotives. Its absence sent industries into disarray. In a storage hangar outside Kiev, an unfinished second Mriya airframe, about 60% completed, rests in silence. It has lain still since 1989, halted by the Soviet unraveling, now frozen once again by war. Ukraine's government has vowed to complete it, calling on global support from aerospace partners. Boeing, Airbus, and even NASA have shown interest. Yet, as the conflict continues, the vision of revival feels distant. Still, the legend endures. Murals of the An-225 Mriya now decorate buildings throughout Ukraine, symbols of hope, resilience, and the will to rise anew. The tale of the Mriya is not just about engineering. It embodies ambition itself. It arose from rivalry, lifted by brilliance, and was lost to devastation. Yet even in demise, it continues to inspire. Some machines fulfill a function. The Mriya carried the essence of human possibility. It demonstrated that imagination could conquer size, weight, and fear. And perhaps someday, when peace returns to Ukraine, the Mriya's twin will ascend, stronger, cleaner, and swifter. Because dreams never truly vanish. They linger, waiting,